How does a poor guy become a rich heir? Simple. Kill the real heir. I'm Ripley, born a genius at imitation. I watched someone play the piano once, and I can do it just the same. I forge signatures with a single glance, so perfectly that even experts can't tell the difference. But what I'm best at, mimicking voices. Just listen carefully and say what they say, exactly how they say it. Listen to this old man's tone.
It's just noise. Just an insolent noise.
Now listen to me imitate him.
Oh yes, jazz. Oh, jazz, let's face it, it's just,
Isn't it identical? Until that day, my opportunity came. I was working a gig when I ran into a top-tier millionaire. He saw me in a fancy university blazer and asked, my son Dickie went to that school. Do you know him? Of course I didn't. I never even finished elementary school. The blazer wasn't mine, it was borrowed. But I couldn't miss a chance to connect with a millionaire, so I smiled and answered right away. I said, oh, Mike, of course I know him. We even had classes together. We chatted a bit more, and I made sure he'd remember me. Sure enough, a few days later, he came looking for me. He said his son Dickie was wasting his life away in Italy, refusing to come home. He begged me to go get him and promised a huge reward. I was stunned. I didn't even know his son. How was I supposed to bring him back? I was just about to say no, but the guy didn't even wait for my answer. He turned and walked away. I went home and started digging, learning everything about this rich kid. I found out he loved jazz, so I binge listened to all kinds of jazz, studied music theory, figured out how to approach him. When I got to Italy, I found Dickie by the sea. I didn't approach right away. I watched him first, made a plan. I pretended to be an old classmate and introduced myself. I even let a few things slip on purpose to make him suspicious, curious about who I really was. Sure enough, he took the bait and invited me to dinner. Over dinner, I imitated his father's tone and gestures. He laughed out loud. Once he let his guard down, I hit him with the big one. I'm here because your father sent me. He wants you to come home. His face went dark. He said no and told me to get lost. I played it cool and said I'd leave the next day. The next morning, I started packing and said goodbye, but I accidentally dropped a few photos of him. He stared in disbelief. I like jazz too. We dress the same. Suddenly he thought I was a kindred spirit. He changed his mind instantly, told me to stay, even invited me into his mansion. Exactly what I wanted. I knew talking him into going home wouldn't work. It'd just annoy him. So I chose another way. Become his friend, earn his trust, then figure it out later. I started pretending to be open and honest, confiding in him. He bought it. He even made me the middleman, helping him scam money from his dad while we partied together. We drank, sang, sailed yachts, and rode motorcycles through the city. For the first time, I experienced the life of the rich. So, and it changed me. I started copying his voice, his gestures, wore his clothes, used his things, and I even foolishly thought we were brothers. But I didn't understand one thing, and don't force your way into a world that doesn't want you. Before long, he got bored. He started hanging out with his old rich friends. One of them, a fat guy, took one look at me and sneered, calling me a parasite, eating his food and sleeping in his house. One day we were out at sea and I was planning where to go next, but he got more and more impatient, then told me to go back to America. My heart shattered. So all this time, the brotherhood I believed in was just a one-sided fantasy. We argued and slapped each other. He hit me so hard my face swelled. In that moment, my dream was destroyed. I finally realized we were never the same kind of people. I was furious, completely lost control. I raised the oar again and again, smashing it down on Dickie's head. That was my first time killing someone. I crawled ashore, shaking, watching the boat with his body slowly sink into the sea. Panicked, I ran back to the hotel to get my key, but as soon as I said Dickie's name, the receptionist looked at me strangely. Turns out, all these days, I had been imitating Dickie so long, so well, I couldn't even tell myself apart anymore. In that moment, a crazy thought hit me. I'll become him, live as him. But there was still one major problem. Dickie's fiance. Luckily, I already had a plan. First, I typed a breakup letter in his tone, then I forged his signature in his handwriting. The final and most important step, I hid the letter in their little secret spot, the perfume box. I'd noticed that detail. Sure enough, after she received the letter, she was heartbroken but never doubted it. Next, I needed to make people believe Dickie was still alive. I took his luggage and rushed it to Rome, changed into his clothes, took off my glasses, and checked into a luxury hotel under his name. Then I put the glasses back on, changed into my own clothes, and checked into a cheap hotel as Tom Ripley. From that day forward, I lived as two people. I switched between identities, called myself on the phone, left messages at the front desk, keeping up the illusion that Dickie was still around. Honestly, living as the upper class, it was too easy. I withdrew money from the bank. No limits, just a signature. I ordered custom suits, however many I wanted. Bit by bit, I became a real aristocrat. As Dickie, I met a rich heiress. She fell for me instantly and invited me to the opera that night. But during intermission, I ran into a man. He said his name was Peter, very friendly. Worst of all, standing behind him was Dickie's fiancée. I quickly took off my ring, put on my glasses. Instantly, she was here to find Dickie, to ask why he vanished with only a letter. I panicked. The heiress was nearby. If the two women met, my fake identity would be over. Then I had a flash of inspiration. I told Dickie's fiancé to meet me at a cafe the next day at 10:30 a.m. Then, dressed as Dickie again, I took the heiress out of the opera. Before she got off the car, I struck again. I told her to meet me at 10:15 at the same cafe. The next morning, they bumped into each other. Though they didn't know each other well, in high society they knew each other's names. They chatted and assumed Dickie had arranged for them to meet. As a sign, he was gone. For good. Both believed Dickie was still alive and finally let go. I had succeeded. I moved to a villa in the suburbs, drank wine, played piano, living the good life. Until one day, an uninvited guest arrived. Dickie's friend, the one who mocked me. He found the villa by tracing the name I'd checked in with, but once inside, he saw only me. Dickie wasn't there. He started getting suspicious. On his way out, he ran into the landlord, who shouted up the stairs, "Mr. Dickie!" That moment, he figured everything out. He rushed back up. I knew. One mistake, and everything would collapse. To protect my secret, I had no choice. I had to kill again. I dragged his body out, ready to dump it, but ran into someone. Thinking fast, I mimicked the fat guy's voice, acting drunk, making it look like I was helping a drunk friend. I killed him. I can't live with myself. I'm ending it. I scratched the photo on his passport to look unstable, and signed with flawless handwriting. The police didn't question it. They ruled it a murder-suicide. Dickie killed and then took his own life. I fooled them all. This time I went to Venice under my real identity to find Peter. We hit it off the first time and exchanged contacts. We had the same interests, talked easily, and became close friends. Just when I thought everything was finally over, I overlooked one person, Dickie's father. The old fox didn't believe his son killed himself. He discovered that Dickie had withdrawn a huge sum before dying. Why would someone about to die need money? And he wasn't convinced, so he hired the best private investigator in America. I panicked, but tried to stay calm. Then the investigator said, "I hope you can keep this secret." Turns out, Dickie almost killed a classmate in school. His father sent him to Europe to avoid charges. Now that he'd killed someone, he had more reason to run. Dickie's father believed he was in hiding. Not dead. To protect the family name, the millionaire handed me a fat stack of hush money, just to keep quiet. Just like that, I accidentally dodged the deadliest bullet. With talent and luck, I escaped clean. Not long after, Peter and I boarded a cruise ship. On deck, we sang together, like everything was starting anew. But I forgot. Every lie I told never truly disappeared. On the ship, I saw her, the rich girl who once thought I was Dickie. I froze. Peter knew her, and she knew me under a different identity. Now I had two choices. Kill the girl and fully become Ripley, or kill Peter and live behind the mask forever. But I had no choice. The rich girl had family, I couldn't touch her, but Peter, he was alone. I entered his room, leaned on his back, crying, and asked him to list what he liked about me. He spoke gently, one thing after another. I cried harder, and he didn't see the scarf in my hand. Later, I returned to my room and sat blankly. A breeze slammed the door shut. I was trapped in that darkness and couldn't get out again because the only light I had, I snuffed it out with my own hands.